I want to just ask you first of all, we don't seem to be getting anywhere. There's actually an impasse when it comes to these talks, this round. Why should we actually care?
Well, you're right. For the moment, we have not succeeded in concluding this negotiation, which was started 10 years ago, and which is a very complex negotiation about more market access for industrial goods, agricultural goods, services, but also new rules about farm subsidies, about customs procedures. The reality being that in WTO, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed on every piece of this agenda. And for the moment, there is one issue among the 20 of the agenda which is blocked, which is industrial tariff reductions between, let's say, US on the one side and emerging countries like China, India, Brazil on the other side, where there is a difference in the level of ambition. US and some other developed countries would like China, India, Brazil to go to sort of zero in industrial tariffs in some areas, which emerging countries refuse to do. They accept to open more their markets, but not yet to the level of developed countries. Now, why should we care? Because the WTO rulebook, what regulates global trade, needs to move forward. It needs to be adjusted to the world trade of today, which is not one country trading with another country, but global value chains. And we need to be able to address obstacles to trade of the future, which probably will be of a regulatory nature, non-tariff barriers, food safety, standards, safety regulations and standards, environmental issues. So coping with these issues of the future necessitates to do the sort of spring cleaning which needs to be done in existing rules.
Pascal, Lamy, okay, what are the chances that we're going to get any kind of agreement by the start of these talks or by the end of these talks? What would you say is a percentage of chance of getting a consensus by year's end?
Well, given the impasse in the negotiation which appeared beginning of this year in industrial tariff reductions, which, as I said, is only one piece of this big agenda, what WTO members are trying to do is to see whether a part of the negotiation could be provisionally agreed and implemented, and that part of the negotiation would be mostly directed to bringing the benefits of the Doha round to least developed countries. Essentially, duty-free, quota-free access by least developed countries to developed countries and to developing countries in a position to do so. That would be the sort of target for the ministerial conference if members agree to do that, which is still to be checked, and we probably will have a clearer view of whether such a target, such an early harvest in the round, is or not doable by the end of this year. We should have a clearer picture end of June whether or not WTO members agree that that should be the name of the game for this year.
Pascal, Lamy, I want to talk to you also about the new globalism. That is the theme of the World Economic Forum there. Just very, very briefly, how have things changed? We're still getting these big multilateral deals which actually undermine what happens at the WTO. Things like, right now, the Trans-Pacific Strategic Economic Partnership, that sort of thing.
Well, I'm not sure they systematically undermine global trade rules. We've always had a coexistence, a cohabitation of multilateral trade opening, multilateral disciplines, and bilateral or regional trade agreements, for instance, within ASEAN, or between some ASEAN countries and Australia or US or EU or even China. Now, the question whether multilateral trade opening and disciplines and more limited bilateral or regional agreements, whether they synergize or not, is a complex question. In some areas, there is a synergy between preferential market opening and multilateral trade opening. In other areas, there is a danger that bilateral or preferential trade rules create a sort of spaghetti bowl of obligations, which then impedes multilateral trade opening. So it depends on whether or not what is done bilaterally or regionally converges at the end of the day with multilateral trading rules or diverges, and this is where it needs a lot of attention on our side. The principle should remain that preferential, non-multilateral trade rules do synergize and comply with the overall objective of multilateral trade opening.
Pascal Lamy, thank you so much for joining us.